scrolling your life away, numbing your potential with comfort, drowning in distraction. But listen to me now. That version of you, it dies tonight. No more excuses. No more tomorrow. No more someday. No more I'm trying. Because you're not trying. You're avoiding. And deep down, you know it. You're not tired. You're undisciplined. You're not broken. You're comfortable. You're not lost. You're lazy. But there's still a fire in you, buried, faint, flickering, and I'm here to ignite it. Pause. Breathe. Now listen. The person you want to become, they are real. They are waiting. But they are on the other side of your weakness, your excuses, your fear, your procrastination. You will never meet that version of you until you're ready to suffer for it. Win the war inside. That's the battlefield you veers where you. Not your parents, not your ex, not the world, you. You've been dragging dead weight, and it's not someone else, it's you. The older version of you. The weaker version, the one that broke promises, made excuses, begged for comfort, and disappeared when life got hard. That version? It's been poisoning you, corrupting your potential, slowly, quietly, silently dragging you further from the life you say you want. And unless you kill it, it will take everything from you. You don't need more time. You don't need more chances. You've had them. What you need is a funeral. A burial, a violent death, not for your body, for your patterns, your lies, your laziness, your dependency, your need to be saved. Kill it, no one's coming. And if you keep feeding the old you, you will suffer for the rest of your life, not because you weren't capable, but because you were too soft to sacrifice. How many times have you said you were done? How many times did you make promises at midnight, only to break them by morning? How many days have you wasted talking about change, visualizing success, feeling inspired, then doing absolutely nothing? You've talked enough. You've dreamed enough. You've read the quotes, watched the clips, followed the pages. But none of it will matter if the coward in you still lives. That soft, pathetic, excuse-making identity, it must die. Right now you were not born to live average. But if you continue carrying around the version of yourself that sleeps in, procrastinates, stays addicted, keeps starting over, and breaks under pressure, that is what you will become. Forget the future. Forget your goals. Until you eliminate the weak part of yourself, you are at war with your own shadow. It will follow you. It will whisper. It will seduce you. It will drag you into the same pit you keep crawling out of. So kill it. Kill the part of you that needs validation. That checks the phone before checking in with your soul. That seeks comfort before clarity. That talks a big game, but can't keep a small promise. Kill the part of you that's addicted to talking instead of doing. Kill the part that waits for motivation. Kill the side of you that always quits when it gets hard. It won't be easy. That old version will scream when you starve it. When you cut the habits. When you choose the harder path. When you train instead of sleep. When you isolate instead of party, when you shut the door and sit in silence with no one to distract you, the old you will scream like a demon being burned alive. Good, burn it. Your comfort is killing your potential. Every second you spend protecting your feelings is a second you are not building your future. You've been coddled by your own mind, softened by your own routines. You don't need healing. You need war. You don't need peace. You need fire. You don't need more love from the world. You need respect from yourself. And the only way to earn that respect is to show yourself you can suffer and not fold. You can sacrifice and not flinch. You can hurt and still execute. Right now, you are standing in the middle of your life with blood on your hands. But it's your own self-inflicted wounds from laziness, doubt, fear, weakness, and procrastination. You have betrayed yourself more times than you can count. But that ends now, because once you decide to kill the old you, you reclaim your power, you become dangerous again. Focused, sharp, cold, ready. Don't negotiate with your past. Don't compromise with your fears. Don't reason with your addictions. You cut them off, you slice them out. You replace them with pain, structure, discipline, and clarity, and you do it again and again and again until the old you is so far buried in the ground that even your memories forget who you used to be. You are not your pain. You are not your mistakes. You are not your addictions. But if you continue living like the old you, you become all of them. Stop romanticizing your struggle. Stop identifying with your trauma. Stop using your past as a personality. Your pain is not a home. It is fuel. Use it. Turn it into focus. Turn it into fuel. Turn it into rage and let that rage build you. Because this world will not wait for you. Your opportunity will not knock forever. Your potential has an expiration date, and if you don't kill the weaker version of you, life will do it for you. Life will destroy what you refuse to discipline. You don't want that. You don't want to look back 5 years from now and realize you chose to stay the same. You chose the numbness. You chose the comfort. You chose the lies. So rise, rise now. Breathe in the silence. Breathe in the war. Breathe in the isolation. This is where transformation begins, not in books, not in therapy, not in motivation. In action, violent, consistent, unforgiving action. The kind of action that forces the old you to tremble. The kind of action that silences the voice in your head begging you to quit. The kind of action that builds a version of you so dangerous your past self would be terrified. You must become your own executioner. Ruthless with your habits, merciless with your environment, precise with your time. You don't just improve, you rebuild. You don't just grow, you evolve. You don't just change, you destroy the foundation of who you were, and you build from the ashes. Let the old you die tired, ashamed, and forgotten. Let it scream as you walk away. Let it fade as you lock in. Let it rot while you rise. You owe that version nothing, not pity, not reflection, not forgiveness. Let it burn, because the you that is coming, the real you, is unstoppable, relentless, unshakable, a monster forged in silence, built in isolation, focused in darkness. And that version of you, it doesn't beg, it doesn't break, it doesn't fold. You think you're suffering now. Good. That means the change is working. That means the weak version is cracking. Let it hurt. Let it break. Let it bleed. But don't stop swinging. Don't stop cutting. Don't stop killing that old identity until there's nothing left to return to. You want freedom. Discipline is the price. You want peace. Sacrifice is the price. You want greatness. Obsession is the price. Pay it over and over. With your time, with your energy, with your blood, with your tears, every single. This is the death of who you were. This is the birth of who you were meant to be. But it won't happen through motivation. It won't happen through hope. It happens through execution. Repetition, brutality. It happens when you finally say, enough, I'm done living like this. I'm done being weak. I'm done betraying myself. So shut the door, cut the noise. Kill the distractions, wake up earlier, train harder, speak less, do more, disappear if you have to. Break every bad habit, break every excuse, break the cycle of being average. You were not built to be normal, you were not designed to be mediocre, but potential means nothing if you protect the version of you that's afraid to change. Rip it out. That's not you. That's the lie you told yourself to survive. You don't need that anymore. You don't need survival. You need domination. You have one mission now: kill the old you. That means no more self-pity, no more emotional weakness, no more storylines of, I'm not good enough. That chapter is closed, burned. Go now, it's war. And in this war, only the disciplined survive, only the focused evolve, only the obsessed ascend. So lock in, bleed for it, burn for it, starve for it. Do not stop until the old you is a memory that no longer fits who you are. Because in this life you either evolve or you disappear, and you were born to rise. So rise, and never go back. You've been lied to. Lied to by your own mind. Lied to by the world that told you to follow your heart, trust your emotions, listen to your feelings like they were gods. But here's the truth. Your feelings are liars, and if you keep following them, you'll follow them straight into mediocrity, straight into regret, straight into a life built on reaction instead of creation. Feelings are temporary. Discipline is eternal. You don't rise by emotion. You rise by structure, by consistency, by commitment to a standard that doesn't bend just because you're tired. You don't feel like waking up early. Too bad. Do it anyway. You don't feel like training today. Too bad. Do it anyway. You don't feel like showing up, working hard, staying focused, sacrificing comfort. That's fine. Feel it and still do what must be done. That's what separates the few from the many. That's what builds winners. Not emotional perfection, emotional defiance. Power isn't in how good you feel. Power is in what you do when you feel broken. Everyone wants the results, but almost no one wants the repetition. Everyone wants growth, but they're slaves to how they feel today. They want greatness, but they only show up when it's convenient. You want to win, then stop worshipping your mood. Stop checking in with your emotions like they're your boss. They're not. Your goals are. Your purpose is. Your vision is. And every single day, you have to choose discipline or emotion. One builds you, one destroys you. Every decision, every habit, every small moment, they add up. And if you're led by emotion, you'll build a life that reflects your weakness. But if you're led by discipline, you'll build a future that reflects your power. Discipline doesn't ask how you feel. Discipline asks what needs to be done. Discipline doesn't care about comfort, distractions, validation, or mood. Discipline is the voice that says, get up anyway. Move anyway, suffer anyway, execute anyway. Discipline isn't a feeling, it's a decision. It's a commitment made in silence, enforced in chaos. It's your anchor when your emotions scream and your body trembles. It's the part of you that shows up when every other part wants to quit. How many times have you let emotion rob you of momentum? How many times have you said, not today, I'll start tomorrow, I'm not feeling it, and let that moment turn into weeks, months, years of inconsistency? And where has it left you? Stuck, confused, frustrated, addicted to the same cycle of starting over. That's not life. That's slow death. You don't escape it with motivation. You escape it with non-negotiable standards. You escape it with brutal discipline. Discipline doesn't care if you're in the mood. It cares if you follow through. It cares if you keep the promises you made when you were strong, when you were clear, when you were focused, because those moments when you feel powerful are rare, and if you don't build discipline to carry that power into the dark days, you'll lose it. Every time emotions fade, discipline remains. You think champions feel good every day. You think warriors love every step of the fight. You think greatness comes easy, convenient, or emotional. It doesn't. It comes from doing the hard thing, especially when you don't want to. It comes from bleeding for a goal that hasn't paid you yet, from sacrificing your comfort for your future, from outworking your excuses until there's no weakness left to hide behind. You can't afford to live like most people. Most people are emotional slaves. They feel tired, so they rest. They feel bored, so they distract. They feel uncomfortable, so they run. They feel doubt, so they quit. And their life reflects that pattern. Emotionally weak, mentally soft, spiritually dead. But you're not most people. You didn't come here to break. You came here to build, to win, to evolve. But evolution requires execution, and execution requires discipline. That means showing up after heartbreak, showing up after betrayal, showing up after failure. Not because it feels good, because it's necessary. You rise, not through emotion, but through decisions that ignore emotion. You move when your legs are shaking. You work when your mind says stop. You push when your heart says quit. Because that's the only way you separate yourself from the average. Your emotions are feedback, not commands. Learn to listen without obeying. They are signals, not shackles. You can feel weak and still act strong. You can feel fear and still act with courage. You can feel sad and still do the work. This is not about denying emotion. This is about mastering it, leading it, overriding it when it no longer serves your growth, because emotions are passengers. But you are the driver. So what's stronger, your desire or your discipline? What's louder, your excuses or your execution? What's more consistent, your emotions or your actions? That's what defines you. And if you don't like your results, you better start rebuilding your responses. Your feelings don't owe you a damn thing. Your future does. You want freedom? Then earn it. Want peace? Then grind for it. Want power? Then suffer for it. Nothing great is given. It is built through repetition, through systems, through structure, through the ability to say no to temporary pleasure for the sake of permanent greatness. Discipline is the currency. Pay in full. You think you can do this when you feel like it. You think the world rewards effort based on mood. No, it rewards those who show up relentlessly. Regardless of pain, regardless of doubt, regardless of storms. The world doesn't care if you're tired. It cares if you produce, if you build, if you execute. Most people never win because the negotiable standard. They don't have that switch that flips and says, I don't care how I feel. I'm doing it anyway. That switch is the difference. That switch is the separator. That switch is what breaks limits and makes legends. Don't get it twisted. You're not soft. You're not weak. You're just undisciplined. And that can change. Right now, if you want it to. But don't lie to yourself again. Don't pretend you're trying while you're checking out. Don't act like you're committed while you're distracted. Be honest. Are you really locked in? Are you really sacrificing? Or are you just showing up when you feel good? Because real discipline kicks in when motivation dies. Real progress begins when emotion leaves the room. That's where the real game starts. When the fire is gone but the grind continues. When your mood is low but your standards stay high. When the storm hits and you don't flinch. You lean in. You lock in. You execute. Because that's who you are now. You don't need another reminder. You don't need another burst of inspiration. You need structure. You need a system. You need to design your day, your mind, your environment to make discipline the default. That means wake times, bed times, work blocks, deep focus. That means cutting people who disrupt your rhythm. That means saying no without guilt. That means building routines so strong that you don't wait to feel like doing something. You just do it. Do you understand how rare that is? A person who moves without motivation. A person who executes regardless of emotion. That's dangerous. That's unstoppable. That's what you need to become. Not someone who's always happy, always peaceful, always inspired. That's a myth. Be the one who moves even in darkness. Who builds even when who shows up even when nothing around them says they should. Your habits are louder than your hopes. Your consistency is louder than your intention. And your discipline is the foundation of it all. Build it. Sharpen it. Protect it like your life depends on it, because it does. Without discipline, your dreams rot. Without discipline, your purpose dies. Without discipline, you live as a slave to the most unstable part of yourself, your feelings. This is a war, not against the world, against your lower nature, against the part of you that craves comfort over growth, ease over excellence. That part of you will kill your future if you let it. So don't starve it, choke it, outwork it, outlast it. Build a version of yourself so disciplined that emotion becomes irrelevant. You do it because it must be done. No questions, no hesitation, just action. That's power. That's freedom. That's how you take your life back. Not by changing how you feel, but by changing what you do despite how you feel. That is self-mastery. That is leadership. That is evolution. From now on, discipline over emotion. Every decision, every day, no exceptions. Now get back to work. This world owes you nothing, and no one is coming, not to save you, not to pick you up, not to feel sorry for you. No one is coming to wipe your tears or fix your mess. No one is coming to remind you of your greatness. No one is coming to motivate you, pull you from bed, silence the noise in your head, or carry you through the storm. You're waiting for a hero, but no one's coming. You are the hero. You always have been, and it's time you face the truth and stop running from it. You've spent too many nights hoping someone would see you. Too many mornings hoping someone would check in. You've begged for signs, cried for answers, stared at the ceiling and screamed into the void. But all you heard was silence. You expected life to feel fair. You expected someone to intervene, someone to guide you, someone to say, "You matter." But that silence, that's your answer. No one's coming. And it's not a curse. It's your calling. Because when no one comes, that's when you rise. When you're alone, that's when you sharpen. When no one shows up, that's when you learn how to move anyway. To work anyway. To fight anyway. You thought you needed saving, but what you really needed was to suffer. To be stripped of the noise, the attention, the comfort, the fake support. You needed to be abandoned to discover your own power. And now that you're here, broken, tired, empty, good, because now you have no one left to lie to but yourself. Get up anyway. No one's clapping. No one's watching. No one's checking in. That's the test. That's the moment where most people fold. Most people stay down. Most people want sympathy, but not you. You were built for this. You were built for silence. Built for pressure. Built for pain. Built for those days when it's just you versus the weight of the world, and the only way you win is to get up anyway. Stop waiting. Waiting is the disease. I'll wait until I feel better. I'll wait until the pain fades. I'll wait until I get a sign. There is no sign. There is no break. There is no perfect moment. There is only this moment, right here. And you can let it slip or you can take it back. You can rise in spite of the chaos, in spite of the pain, in spite of the fear. That's what power looks like. That's what strength is. Not perfection, not constant motivation, but movement in the middle of the storm. That's what makes you unbreakable. You don't need applause. You don't need attention. You don't need support. What you need is to become so consistent, so focused, so disciplined, that nothing else matters. You show up because that's who you are. You move because you've made it your identity. You suffer with pride. You sacrifice with honor, because you've finally realized this life is yours. And if you don't build it, no one will. Let them doubt you too. Let them forget you. Let them mock your silence. You don't need them. You don't need anyone to believe in you as long as you believe in yourself. Stop needing so much. Stop needing to feel good. Stop needing validation. Stop needing ease. You are not here to be liked. You're here to be legendary, and that doesn't happen with comfort. Happens in the dark, when the world turns its back and you keep going anyway. That pain you feel, it's not a sign to stop. It's a sign you're waking up. That emptiness, it's not a void. It's space being cleared for your new identity. You thought you were broken, but you were just being tested. You thought it was over, but it's just beginning. Because now that you know no one is coming, you stop waiting, you stop hoping, and you start creating. With blood, with discipline, with silence, with obsession. You are dangerous now, because you've got nothing left to lose, but everything to build. And the moment you truly accept that no one is coming, your power begins. You stop depending, you stop seeking, you stop crying out for rescue. You rescue yourself. You drag yourself off the floor. You dig your fingers into the dirt of your own failure. You pull your future out of the wreckage of your past. You become your own source, your own savior, your own legend. Get up anyway, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. Get up when your mind says it's pointless. Get up when your body begs you to quit. Get up when your dreams feel far and your demons feel close. Get up and move forward, inch by inch, step by step, because every time you rise when there's no reason to, you kill the weakness inside. Every time you get up without support, you become more unshakable. Every time you act without reward, you become more unstoppable. Most people need a reason to try. You don't. You try because quitting is no longer an option. You rise because staying down is death. You build because failure is not your final chapter. It's your fire. It's your reminder that there's still more to give, more to become, more to fight for. You say you're tired. Good, keep going. You say you feel numb. Good, keep going. You say no one cares. Good, because that's how you harden. That's how you sharpen. That's how you destroy every version of you that thought life owed you something. You want to win. Stop needing a cheering crowd. Stop needing a handout. Stop needing a shortcut. Be the person who gets up when no one else does. Be the one who keeps pushing when the lights are off and the room is empty. That's how legends are made. Not in the spotlight. In the shadows. Not with noise. In silence. Not with applause. With pain. And if you can suffer long enough, fight hard enough, focus sharp enough, you will build something no one can take from you, because it was never given to you. It was earned, bled for, suffered for, created from nothing. You don't rise because you feel like it. You rise because your destiny demands it, because you know who you are, because you remember what it cost, Because the old you died for this, you owe it to yourself to finish the war. Not halfway. Not almost. Finish it. Finish building the life you said you would. Finish becoming the version of you that doesn't fold, doesn't whine, doesn't wait. Finish what you started when you first felt that pain and saw it would never be wasted. So no one is coming. And that is the greatest gift you've ever been given. Because now you stop living in the illusion. Now you stop chasing saviors. Now you stop begging life to be fair. And now you start building a new reality. Brick by brick, rep by rep, sacrifice by sacrifice. Your story changes the moment you do. The moment you stop acting like the world owes you anything. The moment you realize your scars are your strength. The moment you stop calling it suffering and start calling it sharpening. That's the moment your entire life pivots. That's the moment you break the cycle. That's the moment you leave behind the broken version of yourself and build something permanent. There are two kinds of people, the ones who wait and the ones who work. The ones who break and the ones who break through. The ones who complain and the ones who create. You decide which one you'll be right now. You decide whether this pain becomes your prison or your platform. You decide whether you drown in the silence or rise through it. And if you're still breathing, you still have a shot. One more round, one more fight. One more chance to prove that everything trying to break you only made you sharper. You get one life, one chance to get it right, one body, one mind, one opportunity to show yourself and the world that you don't fold, you don't flinch, you don't fear. You get up, even if you're tired, even if you're scared, even if your heart is shattered and your mind is screaming. You get up. Because if you don't, no one else, and if you don't, everything you've ever wanted dies right there. But if you do, if you get up and fight back, you get to rewrite everything. Get up. No matter what, no matter how long you've been down, no matter who left, no matter what failed, no matter how heavy it feels, you are still in this. You are still alive. You still have time to become the weapon you were born to be. But you must act. You must move. You must choose to rise without permission, without support, without perfect timing. Get up anyway, because no one is coming, and that's exactly why you must. Comfort is a trap. It looks safe. It feels warm, but it's poison, slow addictive, and it will kill you if you don't wake up. Comfort is the reason your dreams are dying. It's the reason you keep quitting. It's the reason you feel lost, weak, numb, because comfort is the enemy. Not pain, not struggle, not failure. Comfort. You weren't born for ease. You were built to evolve, and evolution only happens under pressure, under heat, under stress. But the second you start choosing what's easy, you begin to rot, you start to decay, you lose your edge, you lose your fire, you lose your fight, and worst of all, you forget who the hell you are. You weren't born to scroll, you weren't born to binge. You weren't born to live your life on autopilot. Checking out, zoning out, giving just enough to get by. That's not life, that's survival. That's sleepwalking. That's death in disguise. And the longer you stay comfortable, the more you become a ghost. A shell of the person you could have been. People talk about being lost. But most of the time, they're not lost, they're lazy, they're not confused. They're comfortable. They've been in the same patterns for so long they can't even hear their soul anymore. They've traded their power for dopamine, their purpose for distractions, their edge for softness, and they call it balance. They call it normal. They call it self-care. No, it's self-sabotage. It's weakness. It's giving in. And the price is everything. Your comfort zone is your prison. It's where dreams go to suffocate, where your fire dies quietly, where you make excuses instead of progress. You know what needs to be done. You've always known. But comfort lies, it whispers, take it easy. You deserve rest. You've done enough. No. You haven't even scratched the surface of what you're capable of, and if you keep listening to that voice, you'll never find out. Discomfort is where the truth is. Discomfort is where the growth is. Discomfort is the price you pay for freedom. You want to feel alive again, then suffer. You want clarity, then sweat for it. Bleed for it, because that's where you find out who you really are. Not when things are easy, but when everything hurts and you keep going anyway. You want success? Then get uncomfortable. You want confidence? Get uncomfortable. You want to stop feeling stuck, lost, unmotivated? Get uncomfortable. Wake up earlier. Shut off your phone. Cut the damn excuses. Say no to pleasure. Say yes to pain. And keep saying yes until your mind breaks and rebuilds itself stronger. You think peace comes from comfort. It doesn't. It comes from earning your silence, from suffering with intention, from knowing that you showed up even when it hurt. Especially when it hurt. You've been lied to. They told you to seek happiness, to prioritize ease, to follow the path of least resistance. But you don't build greatness through pleasure. You build it through pressure, through repetition, through showing up when it's cold, when it's dark, when no one is watching. That's when you grow. That's when you sharpen. That's when you rise. Most people will never understand this. Most people will live and die in comfort. They'll stay in jobs they hate, relationships that numb them, environments that drain them, and they'll call it a good life. But deep down, they know they quit. They know they settled. They know they avoided the fire. Don't be most people. Most people never test their limits, never face their demons, never choose pain on purpose. And that's why they stay weak. That's why they stay broke, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Not because they couldn't, because they wouldn't. Because comfort was easier than change. Because comfort became their identity. But you're not here to play it safe. You're not here to stay the same. You're here to suffer and rise, burn and rebuild, fight and conquer. You're here to become someone that your old self couldn't even recognize. And that only happens when you step into the fire willingly, every day, on purpose. You want to win, then learn to love the discomfort, love the silence, love the sweat, love the hunger, love the pain. Let it shape you, let it break you, let it sharpen you into a version of yourself that doesn't need comfort to move, that doesn't need pleasure to feel whole, that doesn't need approval to keep going. This is about rewiring your mind, destroying the addiction to ease, replacing comfort with consistency, replacing pleasure with purpose, replacing escape with execution. You build a savage mindset when you stop asking, "How can I feel good?" and start asking, "What must be done no matter how I feel?" Every time you choose comfort, you lose power. Every time you hit snooze, scroll mindlessly, skip the workout, lie to yourself, avoid the hard thing, you give a piece of yourself away. You train yourself to be soft. And softness in a world built on war will destroy you. But every time you choose discomfort, you reclaim yourself. Every cold shower, every early morning, every late night grind. Every time you say no to distraction and yes to discipline, you're taking your power back. You're proving that you are not a slave to ease, that you are not a slave to your feelings, that you are in control. You were not made to be comfortable. You were made to evolve, to fight, to grow, to suffer on purpose and come out the other side transformed. That's the mission. Not pleasure, not escape. Mastery. And mastery lives in discomfort. The longer you avoid it, the longer you stay stuck. Everything you want is on the other side of hard. The body, the mind, the clarity, the peace, the purpose. It's not hiding. It's just guarded by pain, guarded by discomfort, guarded by a version of you that has to die for the new one to rise. And if you keep running from that discomfort, you'll never become who you were born to be. Let the others chase comfort. Let them stay asleep. Let them live soft, fragile, ordinary lives. You have something different inside you, a fire, a rage, a hunger. You've just buried it under convenience, but it's still there, waiting, and the only way to access it is to step into the discomfort and stay there until your old self shatters and your real self emerges. You've got to want it bad enough to suffer for it. You've got to want it bad enough to give up the easy path. You've got to want it bad enough to say no to everything that once felt safe. Because safety is an illusion. And you know it. You know deep down that if you keep choosing comfort, you'll die with regret. That's the real fear. Not failure regret. Not pain stagnation. So what are you going to do? Keep pretending you're working on it while you're numbing yourself with comfort. Keep telling yourself you'll change while you repeat yesterday, or are you going to face the truth? That comfort is the real villain. That comfort is the silent killer. That comfort is what's been draining your strength, robbing your time, and keeping you average. This is your wake-up call. Right now. Not tomorrow, not next week. Not when you feel ready. Right now. Because if you don't kill comfort, it will kill everything you could have become. It already has taken enough from you. Don't let it take more. Don't let it win. Build a life around discomfort. Build a mind around discipline. Build a future that doesn't need comfort to function. A future built on your will, your fire, your ability to do what must be done, no matter how it feels. That's freedom, that's power. That's who you really are when you stop running. Get uncomfortable. Stay uncomfortable. Live in discomfort until it becomes your new comfort. Until pressure becomes peace. Until effort becomes automatic. Until pain becomes the path. Because comfort is the enemy, and it's time you destroy it, before it destroys you. Stop waiting for the world to notice. Stop waiting for applause. Stop waiting for validation, recognition, support, or light. You build in the dark. You suffer in silence. You grind when no one claps. You rise when no one believes. That's how the real ones are made. That's how greatness is born. Not in the spotlight, but in the shadows. People think success is loud. They think transformation is glamorous. They think there's a crowd watching. They're wrong. Real growth is quiet. It's brutal. It's lonely. And it happens in the dark. No noise. No fame. Just pain, repetition, and unbreakable commitment. The spotlight blinds people, but the dark sharpens them. You build when nobody sees you. You build when you're tired, sore, unsure, and invisible. You don't need likes. You don't need claps. You don't need anyone to notice. That's weakness. That's ego. That's distraction. The real ones don't build for validation. They build because the war is internal. It's you versus you. And until you conquer yourself, nothing else matters. You have to be willing to disappear. Disappear from distractions, from people who don't get it, from habits that keep you small, from environments that drain your focus. You've got to cut it all. You've got to be alone, focused, unavailable, and that will scare most people, because most people don't know how to exist without being seen. They crave attention more than achievement. They want applause more than evolution. But you're not most people. You didn't come here for approval. You came here to destroy who you were. You came here to fight the war within. You came here to build in silence until your results make noise. Not your mouth. Not your posts. Not your pictures, your results. And results don't come from talking. They come from grinding. Quietly, brutally, in the dark. You'll feel forgotten. You'll feel ignored. You'll feel like no one cares. And that's good. That's exactly where you need to be. Because when no one's watching, that's when you find out who you really are. Do you still train when no one claps? Do you still push when no one checks in? Do you still build when there's no audience, no deadline, no encouragement? That's the test. And most people fail. They need the world to watch. They need attention to feel alive. But not you. You build because that's who you are. Understand this. The dark is where legends are built, where the obsessed sharpen their craft, where the weak are exposed, where the fake quit, and where the focused rise. The dark is where you transform your pain into purpose, where you multiply your discipline, where you earn your future. It's not punishment. It's preparation. While they're partying, you're building. While they're sleeping in, you're building. While they're running from pain, you're embracing it. While you sacrifice. While they fake it, you bleed for it. That's what separates the elite from the average. Not talent, not luck, not motivation. Work, reps, isolation, relentless execution. The kind of work nobody sees. The kind of consistency nobody applauds. But it compounds, it stacks, and eventually it explodes. And when it does, when the results finally show, they'll call you lucky. They'll say it was easy. They'll act like they were with you the whole time, but you'll know the truth. You'll remember the nights you cried alone, the mornings you moved with no energy, the moments you wanted to quit. You'll remember what you suffered, what you sacrificed, what you bled, And it will mean everything. Because you didn't do it for the crowd. You did it for yourself. You did it for your future. You did it because you refused to die average. Because something inside you burned so violently that staying the same was no longer an option. Most people never get there. They're too busy performing, pretending, posting. But performance doesn't change you. Suffering does. Structure does. Discipline does. And all of that lives in the dark. The dark forces you to face yourself, to sharpen your mind, to break the lies, to tear down the mask. That's the power of the dark. It exposes what the light hides. The truth is, you've been hiding too long, hiding in noise, hiding in distractions, hiding in the illusion of progress. It's time to cut all of it, time to go dark, lock in, rebuild from zero. No noise, no nonsense, no validation, just work, call quiet. Focus. The dark is uncomfortable. That's why it works. It's supposed to feel isolating. It's supposed to break you. Because what breaks you rebuilds you. And what rebuilds you refines you. You need to suffer to remember your strength. You need to feel the silence to hear your own voice again. The world has made you soft. The comfort has made you weak. But the dark will make you a weapon. And you're going to need that edge. Because the battle that's coming will demand all of you. It won't care about your excuses. It won't care how tired you are. It won't care how busy you were, how emotional you felt, how distracted your life has been. It will only care if you're ready, if you're strong, if you're dangerous. And the only way to get there is to suffer now. Suffer in silence. Sacrifice the short term to earn the long term. Don't post it. Don't preach it. Don't talk about it. Just do the work. Build the habits. Build the identity. Become the version of you that doesn't need praise, doesn't need company, doesn't need comfort. Build the version that wakes up and executes, because that's who you are now. No more waiting. No more noise. No more weakness. You want to win? Then build in the dark. When it's not sexy. When it's not fun. When it's not seen. Build when you're tired. Build when you're broken. Build when you're scared, because if you can do it then, if you can push in silence, you can dominate in the light. Most people fall apart when no one's watching, but that's exactly when you need to tighten up. Because if you only do the work when people are watching, then you're not real. You're performing. And performers don't win, they entertain. You're not here to entertain, you're here to evolve. And evolution is painful, quiet, uncelebrated work. You don't need a round of applause. You need reps. You don't need more attention. You need more suffering. You need more mornings where your body says no and your discipline says yes. You need more nights where you want to rest, but you go again. You need more isolation, more discomfort, more rejection. That's what builds greatness, not the cheers, not the lights, the cold silence of relentless repetition. Every great thing was built in the dark. The bodies, the businesses, the breakthroughs. They were built when no one cared, when no one noticed, when no one believed. Built through obsession, through brutal consistency, through nights of doubt and days of discipline. And that's your blueprint. Not some motivational quote, not another podcast, not another "I'm getting back on track," just pure, raw, dark work. Disappear if you have to. Go silent. Burn the distractions. Cut the people who drain you. Delete what doesn't feed you. And build. Build when it's boring. Build when it's painful. Build when it's quiet. Build when no one sees. Because the version of you that will change your life isn't out there waiting. It's being forged right now. In this exact moment. In this dark place. With this in the decision to keep going, keep swinging, keep building, build in the dark. Because when the light comes, they'll never understand how you got here. But you will. You feel alone. Good. You feel like nobody understands you. You feel like no one gets your hunger, your pain, your vision. Perfect. Because isolation is not a curse. It's a crucible. It's not your weakness. It's your weapon. And if you use it right, it'll turn you into something the world can't stop. Because in isolation, there are no lies, no masks, no noise. It's just you and the truth. The mirror. The pain. The mission. People run from isolation. They crave company. They crave noise. They crave distractions, comfort, background sounds, social media. endless opinions. You know why? Because being alone forces you to face yourself. And most people can't handle that. They've built a life on avoiding silence, because silence shows them what they really are. Weak, inconsistent, addicted to attention, broken inside. That's what isolation reveals. That's what it exposes. But you're not here to run. You're not here to fake it. You're not here to numb yourself through comfort. You're here to evolve. You're here to rise. You're here to win. And winning demands isolation. It demands you step away from the herd, from the crowd, from the addiction to company. You want power? Then stop looking for it in other people. You want clarity? Stop asking for opinions. You want to grow and then be alone. On purpose, for as long as it takes. Because isolation strips away your ego. It burns off the lies. It shows you where your flaws are, where you're soft, where you've been pretending. It reveals the gaps in your discipline, the truth about your habits, the reality of your mental state. And that truth, that raw, painful, uncomfortable truth, that's your launch pad. That's your fuel. That's where the rebuild begins. You don't find yourself in a group chat. You don't build character through comfort. You don't develop grit by being around noise all the time. You build grit in the trenches, alone with no one watching, no one cheering, no one texting. You got this. You build it when the silence gets so loud you have to choose break or break through. And when you choose to break through, when you choose to stay in the pain, stay in the silence, stay in the fire, that's when the old you dies. That's when the weak parts fall away. That's when the clarity kicks in. Because when there's no one around to lie to, you start telling yourself the truth. You start asking the hard questions. You start facing the habits, the thoughts, the patterns that have been holding you back. It's in isolation that your self-respect is built. Because no one's watching, you don't show up for likes. You show up because it's who you are. You show up because it's your identity now, not because someone's checking on you. Not because you're afraid of judgment, but because you've made a commitment to yourself. And you're done breaking it. Everyone wants success, but almost no one wants the silence that comes with it. Everyone wants to rise, but they hate the loneliness. They hate the grind that doesn't get posted, the work that no one sees, the pain that nobody claps for. But that's where the power is, in the unseen hours, in the isolation, when it's just you and the process, you and the grind, you and the war. And the more you build in isolation, the stronger you become, not just physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, because you learn to trust yourself. You stop outsourcing your value. You stop needing people to believe in you. You stop needing confirmation. You stop waiting for someone to tell you it's okay to chase your dreams. You just go. Because you know now, no one is coming. No one's going to save you. No one's going to hand it to you. It's on you. All of it. And that realization, that's freedom. Isolation frees you from the chains of the external. It unplugs you from the illusion that someone else holds the key to your future. They don't. They never did. The key was always inside you, buried under fear, doubt, distraction, and comfort. And it's isolation that forces you to dig it out, to face the demons, to sharpen the blade, to get clear about what matters and what doesn't. You don't need more people. You need more standards. You don't need more conversations. You need more discipline. You don't need more advice. You need more silence. Because in that silence, in that lonely grind, in that space where it's just you and the battle, that's where your power comes alive. Most people crumble in isolation because they have no structure. They have no inner strength. They've always depended on external accountability. But that doesn't last. That's conditional. You want to be great. You want to be unstoppable. Then you need to become your own source, your own fire, your own accountability. That's what real power is, doing it when no one tells you to, when no one checks on you, when no one notices. But you do it anyway, because every rep in isolation is a rep of self-respect. Every early morning in silence is a vote for the man or woman you're becoming. Every lonely meal, every silent workout, every quiet grind session, those are deposits into your future. The world may not see it now, but it will. And when it does, they'll call you lucky. They'll say, "Must be nice." But they didn't see the nights you sat in silence and faced your demons. They didn't see the hours you spent building when no one clapped. They didn't see the sacrifices. You don't build legacy in the crowd. You build it in solitude, in the dark, in the silence. That's where confidence is born, because when you rise out of that isolation, when you stand up after suffering alone, you know no one gave it to you. You earned it. You bled for, you sharpened yourself with zero applause. And that kind of self-belief, that's unshakable. So stay isolated as long as it takes. Stay obsessed. Stay unavailable. Stay focused. Let them wonder where you went. Let them talk. Let them doubt. That's not your concern. Your concern is the mission, the work, the evolution. You're not disappearing. You're developing. You're not avoiding the world. You're rebuilding yourself so that when you come back, you're untouchable. Because when you go through enough dark alone, nothing out there scares you anymore. Rejection doesn't faze you. Criticism doesn't shake you. Failure doesn't break you, because you've been to war in your own mind, and you came out standing. Stronger, sharper, hungrier, clearer. That's what isolation does when you use it right. Stop fearing it. Stop trying to escape it. Stop begging for connection. This is the part of the path where you go solo, where you disappear from the noise, where you put your head down and do the work. Because every step you take in isolation builds that no amount of talking can replace. Isolation builds resilience. It builds discipline. It builds real hunger. The kind of hunger that doesn't fade when you're tired. The kind that burns even harder when no one believes. The kind that says, "I don't care who left, who stayed, who clapped. I'm still going." That's what isolation forges inside of you. And that's why it's sacred. The world will try to convince you that isolation is dangerous, that you need people, that you need balance. But that's not the path to greatness. That's the path to average. That's the path to mediocrity. Greatness demands obsession, and obsession demands isolation. You think Kobe got there by being balanced? You think Jordan cared about what people thought? You think any savage who changed the game did it by being surrounded by comfort and noise? No, they cut it all. They went dark. They trained when no one watched. They bled when no one noticed. They obsessed alone, and so must you. The truth is, no one's going to understand your fire. No one's going to get your mission. They're not supposed to. It's not theirs, it's yours. So stop explaining it. Stop defending it. Stop expecting anyone to support what only you were born to carry. This is your path. And for now, it's a lonely one. But that's what makes it powerful. That's what makes it sacred. That's what separates you from the rest. So next time you feel isolated, next time the silence gets heavy, next time the loneliness creeps in, don't run. Embrace it, smile, because you're exactly where you need to be. Alone, focused, locked in, unapologetically obsessed with becoming the most disciplined, unstoppable, forged in fire version of yourself that ever walked this earth. Let them talk, let them post, let them party, let them waste time. You're too busy sharpening, too busy leveling up, too busy becoming so powerful that when the lights do finally hit you, they won't recognize who you've become. Because isolation creates power, and you were built for both. You say you want it, but your actions say otherwise. You keep telling yourself you're going to change, that tomorrow you'll start, that next week you'll get serious. But that's a lie. A comfortable, pathetic lie you've told yourself for years. You've buried your potential beneath a mountain of excuses, and now you're choking on the dirt you dug yourself. Excuses are the language of losers. They sound clever. They feel justified. But they kill faster than failure. Excuses are the voice of the weak version of you. The scared, soft, fragile version. The one who wants to be handed greatness without earning it. The one who blames everything but himself. The one who points at the weather, the past, the people, the pain, the system. Everything but the mirror. You want to win. Burn the excuses. Burn every soft story you've used to justify why you're still stuck. I didn't have time. Lie. I wasn't motivated. Weak. I didn't feel like it. Irrelevant. It's hard. it's supposed to be. This life doesn't bend for the excuse makers. It bends for the obsessed, the consistent, the relentless, the ones who show up no matter how they feel. Every time you make an excuse, you trade your future for your feelings. You choose comfort over character, weakness over war, and then you wonder why your life hasn't changed. You wonder why you still feel broken. You wonder why nothing clicks. It's because you keep letting yourself off the hook. You keep letting that soft voice inside you win, the one that says rest, the one that says you've done enough, the one that says tomorrow. That voice is the enemy, and you feed it every time you make an excuse. Excuses feel safe, but they're slow suicide. They keep you just comfortable enough to avoid change, just distracted enough to avoid growth, just blind enough to pretend you're trying. But deep down, you know you're playing small. You know you're lying. You know the gap between who you are and who you could be is widening every day. And the only thing in the middle is excuses. You say you're tired. Everyone's tired. You say you've been through a lot. Everyone has. You say life isn't fair. Welcome to the planet. Do you think the ones who win had it easy? Do you think the great ones were never tired? Do you think they didn't face pain, betrayal, loss, fear, rejection, failure? They just didn't let it become their excuse. They turned it into their edge. You don't need more time. You don't need a better past. You don't need anyone to believe in you. You just need to decide that the excuses die here. That from this moment forward nothing, and I mean nothing, gets to stand between you and your discipline, your mission, your evolution. You've wasted enough time explaining why you're not where you want to be. The world doesn't care about your excuses. It cares about your results. It's brutal. It's cold. It's real. And if you keep trying to talk your way out of hard work, you'll die with potential you never used. That should terrify you. Excuses are rooted in fear of pain, fear of responsibility, fear of rejection, fear of success, fear of isolation. But guess what? All of those are part of the price. You don't get to skip the price and still claim the prize. You either pay up, in sweat, in time, in suffering, or you sit on the sidelines and watch someone else live the life that should have been yours. You think you're the only one who feels resistance. You think the ones who wake up early love it every time. You think the disciplined never feel like quitting. Of course they do. But they move anyway. They execute anyway. That's the difference. Winners make discipline louder than excuses. Losers make excuses louder than discipline. It starts in your mind. The moment your alarm goes off, you've already lost or won. You either tell yourself a story, or you tell yourself the truth. The story says, I can't. The truth says, I just won't. And once you realize that, you stop making excuses and start making decisions. Hard ones, uncomfortable ones, but necessary ones. You're not tired. You're undisciplined. You're not confused. You're scared. You're not unlucky. You're lazy. You're not unmotivated. You're uncommitted. You've convinced yourself that you're the victim of something you could have changed if you just had the balls to be consistent. It's not about your circumstances. It's about your standards. You've accepted too little from yourself for too long. You've allowed your mind to make comfort a priority. You've chosen ease. You've chosen distraction. You've chosen safety. And now you're drowning in excuses. Stop blaming your childhood. Stop blaming your ex. Stop blaming your job, your environment, your genetics, your past. None of that changes until you do. None of that matters if you decide this ends now. You don't rewrite your life with apologies. You rewrite it with action. Ruthless, disciplined action. The only way out is through the excuses, through the pain, through the chaos, through the discomfort. You burn the excuses by showing up when you don't want to, by doing the reps no one sees, by living like a soldier in a world full of tourists. Every time you train when you're tired, you burn an excuse. Every time you eat clean when you're tempted, you burn an excuse. Every time you sacrifice comfort for progress, you bury the weak version of yourself. This isn't about motivation, it's about transformation. And transformation is war, internal war, against your own limitations, your own lies, your own softness, You win that war by becoming militant with your time, violent with your focus, obsessed with execution, and allergic to excuses. You want to feel different, act different. You want to think different, move different. You want a new identity. Burn the old one, and burn everything it used to believe. Every lie, every delay, every justification. You torch it all, and you rise from the ashes, built by discipline, not emotion. It won't happen overnight. You'll relapse. You'll make excuses again. But you don't let them take root. You kill them fast. You catch them in your thoughts and destroy them. You become hyper-aware of the moment you start slipping, and you tighten up. You recommit, again and again and again, because this is war, and you're not leaving the battlefield until you've killed the old you. This is your responsibility. No one's coming to do it for you. No one's going to hold your hand. No one's going to drag you out of your excuses. It's your war, your demons, your life. And if you want to win, then you better burn everything that's ever held you back, especially your reasons why you can't. Your reasons are irrelevant. Your story doesn't exempt you. The world isn't going to bend to your excuses. So you either adapt, harden, and rise, or you decay with the rest. You don't get stronger by being understood. You get stronger by doing what must be done when no one gives a damn how you feel. This is where it changes. Right here, right now. You burn the excuses. Not tomorrow. Not after another reset. Now. Because now is all you've got. And if you don't take it, you'll blink and realize another year is gone. And all you've built is another pile of stories explaining why you're still not who you saw you'd become. You want to be dangerous, then be disciplined. You want to be respected, then be consistent. You want to be powerful, then stop making excuses and start making moves. Stop trying to feel right and start doing what's right. Stop needing to be inspired and start being undeniable. The version of you that wins isn't the one who waits. It's the one who acts relentlessly, obsessively, without apology, without distraction, without softness. And that version, that savage, focused, disciplined version, lives inside you. You just keep making excuses for why you haven't unleashed it. Burn them. Every excuse is a chain. Every excuse is a wall. Every excuse is a weapon you gave to the enemy. Take them back. Destroy them. Starve them, replace them with habits so brutal, so locked in, so dialed that your mind no longer even flinches when it hears the voice of weakness. That voice will always be there. But now it's your job to drown it in work, to silence it with proof, to crush it under the weight of your consistency. And when that voice says, you can't, you don't argue, you don't negotiate, you go anyway, you move anyway, you do it anyway, because you no longer need to feel like it. You just need to finish. This is how you change, not by wanting it, not by hoping, by doing what weak people refuse to do, over and over again, with no excuses, no stories, no softness, just discipline, pressure, pain, and progress. Don't speak, don't explain. Don't justify, just burn the damn excuses and win. You're distracted, you're drowning in noise, you're addicted to opinions, attention, validation, chaos, nonsense. You wake up, check your phone, you scroll, you consume, you compare, you listen to voices that don't matter, absorb energy that doesn't serve you, react to things that don't deserve a second of your time. And then you wonder why you're lost. You wonder why you're stuck. You wonder why you feel numb, tired, soft. It's because you're too loud to hear your own fire. Silence the noise. That's the first step. Shut it all off. The fake friends, the social media, the news, the nonsense, the gossip, the distractions. Shut off the world long enough to hear your soul scream again. Because right now it's whispering, and it's being drowned out by everything you've allowed in. You say you want to change. You say you want to grow. But you're still listening to the same garbage. You're still feeding your brain junk. You're still giving your energy to people who don't want to see you win. That's not hunger. That's weakness. Hunger demands silence. Growth demands isolation. Fire doesn't survive in chaos. It thrives in stillness, in clarity, in control. You need to take your mind back. You need to cut the noise so violently that it feels like withdrawal. Because that's what it is, an addiction. You've been high on stimulation for years. Your brain can't sit still. Your focus is broken. Your vision is cloudy. And the only way to fix it is to detox from everything that's diluted your fire. You think you need more motivation. No, you need less noise. You need fewer voices. You need a mental battlefield with only one soldier. You, because when the noise is gone, the excuses go with it. When the noise is gone, the truth shows up. And most people don't want that. They don't want truth. They want distraction dressed as connection. They want comfort dressed as progress. They want noise to protect them from facing themselves. But you're done with that. You're not here to escape. You're here to evolve. And evolution starts with silence. Shut off the damn phone. Walk away from the people who drain you. Get out of the environment that keeps you average. You know what needs to go. You know what's been stealing your focus. You just haven't had the guts to cut it. Cut it. If you want to find your fire again, you need to get quiet. You need to sit in your thoughts. All of them. The good, the ugly, the brutal truth. You need to face the weight of who you've become and make a decision to burn the old version. No noise, no crowd, just you and the decision to kill everything that doesn't serve your future. You won't find your power scrolling. You won't find it in gossip. You won't find it in a dopamine loop of endless content. You find it in suffering, in silence, in the lonely nights where it's just you and the war inside your mind. That's where the fire is born. That's where you remember what it feels like to be focused, obsessed, dialed in, unshakable. You've spent years trying to keep up with the world. Now it's time to leave it behind. Because the world doesn't care if you win. It doesn't care if you rot. It just wants your attention. It wants your energy. It wants your soul. And every time you give it away to distractions, you fall further from the life you were born to build. Enough. You've had your time to play, to scroll, to delay. Now it's time to shut it all down and go to war. Go to war with every weak thought in your head, every lazy habit, every soft decision. You don't get to live an elite life with a peasant mindset. You don't get to find your fire while staying plugged into everything that numbs it. Your fire is buried under your comfort, under your excuses, under your distractions. You want it back? Then dig. With silence, with sacrifice, with suffering. This is about reclaiming your edge, reclaiming your hunger, reclaiming the version of you that doesn't need a notification to feel alive, because he's too busy building a future no one understands. Most people will never get it. They don't know what it means to go quiet. They're scared of stillness, scared of boredom, scared of silence, because silence forces you to face, to sit with the weight of your choices, to admit that you've been slipping, that you've been playing small, that you've been wasting your time. And that's good. You need to feel that. You need to let it burn. Because only when it burns will you finally stop playing games with your potential. Only when it burns will you stop caring about opinions, distractions, noise. Only when it burns will you remember who the hell you really are. You're not soft. You're not broken. You're not done. You're just disconnected from your fire. You've let the noise turn you into a slave to comfort, a slave to attention, a slave to a fake world that doesn't care about your soul. But not anymore, because now you're awake. Now you're done feeding the beast. Now you're choosing silence over sedation, fire over fear, purpose over pleasure. You're not here to be entertained. You're here to be reborn. And rebirth requires pain, isolation, clarity. You've got to silence everything that makes you weak and then burn the bridge back to it. Don't cut back. Don't moderate. All of it. Burn it to the ground. Go ghost, go monk, go savage, whatever it takes. Because the fire doesn't live in the noise. It lives in the silence. It lives in the cold early mornings, in the hours no one sees, in the pain no one understands. It lives in your consistency, your discipline, your loneliness, and you can't hear it until everything else gets quiet. Don't check in with the world. Check in with your vision. Don't scroll. Move. Don't seek distraction. Seek domination. This is about reclaiming control. Because right now, the world owns your focus, and if they own your focus, they own your life. Take it back. You take it back by starving the noise, by waking up earlier than your emotions, by filling your time with action instead of consumption, by trading comfort for confrontation with your weakness, your laziness, your softness. You take it back by making yourself so busy building that you forget the world even exists. That's how fire is found, not through hype. Through habits, through hunger, through complete detachment from anything that doesn't make you stronger. You need to become militant with your mind, ruthless with your energy, obsessed with becoming dangerous, and you can't do that in the middle of noise. The noise is designed to keep you mediocre, to keep you reactive, to keep you lost. It's not just entertainment, it's anesthesia. You're not just wasting time, you're numbing your potential. And if you don't wake up to it now, you'll wake up in 5 years, 10 years, 20, full of regret, wondering what you could have been if you just had the courage to go silent and build. But you won't be one of them. You're cutting the cord. You're silencing the world. You're going inward. You're burning the distractions. You're finding your fire. And this time, you're keeping it alive. It's not about motivation. It's about muting everything that's killing your momentum. It's about creating space so you can move with clarity and purpose. You think you're tired, you're overstimulated, you think you're lost. You're just distracted. Silence will fix it. Solitude will fix it. Stillness will fix it. But you have to choose it. You have to commit to it. Sit in the silence until the noise inside your head dies. Sit in the silence until you remember why you started. Sit in the silence until your pain becomes fuel. Sit in the silence until the only thing left is the fire, the hunger, the obsession, the savage determination to never go back. Because once the noise is gone, the excuses go with it, the fake goals go with it, the comparison, the insecurity, the doubt, all of it dies in silence. And what's left? Truth, power. Focus, fire. You'll be tempted to go back, to plug in, to check in. Don't. Let them be distracted. Let them be addicted. Let them chase likes while you chase legacy. Let them be busy while you get better. Let them scroll while you suffer. Because your suffering will sharpen you. Your silence will refine you. And your fire, once it's found, will set your entire life on fire. This is the moment. This is the season. The season of silence. The season of silence. The season of isolation. This is the part where you disappear, go dark, and become so cold, so focused, so locked in, that when you come back you're unrecognizable. Find your fire, and never let the noise take it again. You think your pain is the problem. You think your suffering is a sign that you're broken. But you've got it backwards. Your pain is not your punishment. It's your power. It's not here to stop you. It's here to wake you the hell up. To break everything inside you that was weak. Everything fake, everything soft, every excuse, every lie, every false identity you built to protect yourself from the truth. Your pain exists to forge you, to purify you, to harden you into something unstoppable. But most people run from it. They hide from it. They numb it. They call it unfair. And they die with it still locked inside, still heavy, still bleeding, still controlling them. But not you, not anymore. Because you're about to learn how to turn pain into fuel. You're about to learn how to weaponize every wound and wear every scar like armor. You're about to learn how to suffer with purpose. The pain you feel is not a curse. It's a calling, a signal, a brutal, beautiful reminder that you are still alive, that you still have more to give, that you haven't been broken, only tested, and that test was designed for you. It was built with your name on it. You want strength. Here's the weight. You want power. Here's the fire. You want greatness. Here's the suffering. Do something with it. Earn it. You don't rise in spite of pain. You rise because of it. You don't overcome your trauma by avoiding it. You overcome it by facing it, by dragging it into the light and daring it to break you again, only to realize you're not the same anymore. You're stronger, colder, sharper, wiser. The old version of you couldn't survive this. But that version died in the fire. And what was born from that? That's the version the world is not ready for. You've been carrying pain like a burden. You've been trying to hide it, numb it, justify it, use it as an excuse. You keep saying, I'm this way because of what happened to me. But what if you flipped the script? What if you stopped saying, because of that, I'm broken, and started saying, because of that, I'm built? What if your trauma was your teacher? What if your heartbreak was the door to discipline? What if your rock bottom was the birthplace of your rise? The worst thing that ever happened to you. That thing that made you want to quit, that ripped you apart, that stole your light. That is the very thing that can light the fire to rebuild your entire life. But you've got to stop feeling sorry for yourself. You've got to stop waiting for someone to rescue you. You've got to stop asking, why me? And start asking, what now? There's nothing noble about staying broken. There's no glory in being a victim. Your pain doesn't make you special. What you do with it does. Everybody hurts. Everybody struggles. Everybody gets betrayed, abandoned, doubted, disappointed, disrespected. That's life. You're not alone. But what separates the weak from the warriors is what they do next. Do you fold? Or do you fight? Use it. Use every ounce of it. Every betrayal, every loss, every scar, every sleepless night. Let it remind you who the hell you're becoming. Let it drive you when motivation dies. Let it fuel your discipline, your focus, your obsession. Let it harden you. Let it sharpen you. Let it mold you into the weapon you were always meant to become. You want to know who wins in life? It's not the happiest. It's not the most talented. It's not the luckiest. It's the one who has the most pain and turns it into purpose. It's the one who took the trauma and trained through it. Who took the loss and lifted any weight? Who took the loneliness and leveled up anyway? The one who was abandoned and still rose. You think pain is supposed to stop you. It's not. It's supposed to push you. The more it hurts, the more it's trying to teach you. But you've got to listen. You've got to lean in. Stop flinching every time life punches you in the face. Hit back, get up, let it hit you again, and keep moving, because the longer you run from it, the more it owns you. Pain builds perspective. It sharpens gratitude. It exposes truth. It forces you to reassess your values, your vision, your priorities. It clears the fog. Because when everything feels like it's falling apart, you realize what actually matters. And if you use that clarity, that depth, that intensity, you become something different. Something rare. You can't coach someone who's never suffered. You can't build a leader who's never bled. You can't fake experience. You earn it through agony. You earn it through loss, through silence, through struggle. And if you keep hiding from your pain, you'll never build the resilience it takes to lead, to dominate, to evolve. Stop praying for an easier life. Pray for the strength to face your pain and come out on the other side more dangerous. Stop avoiding discomfort. Get addicted to it, because every time you survive something you thought would kill you, you gain something unbreakable, confidence. That's how it's earned. Not through compliments, through combat. In a combat, everyone talks about winning. Nobody talks about weeping, about the nights you cry in silence and wake up anyway, about the days you want to disappear but still show up, about the pain that never goes away, but you carry it with pride. That's real power. That's real toughness. That's what builds legacy. Quiet suffering, relentless commitment, no applause, no validation, just pure fire. You've got to be willing to sit with your pain. No distractions, no escape. Let it tear through you. Let it strip away every excuse, every false belief, every weakness. Sit with it until the tears dry, until the fire starts to grow, until the pain becomes fuel, until your body aches but your soul screams louder, and then you move, you build, you rise. Most people numb it. They drown it in food, phones, drugs, alcohol, validation. They run, they cope, and they stay stuck. But you suffer with purpose. You stare your pain in the face and say, thank you. Now watch what I become. That's savage. That's rare. That's how warriors are made. There is power in your wounds. But you have to stop hiding them. You have to stop being ashamed of your story. You have to own it. All of it. Not just the highlight reel, the ugly, the broken, the dark, the brutal. Because that's the real you. That's where your strength lies. That's what gives your voice power. That's what gives your mission depth. You want to inspire others. Show them your scars. not your filters. Show them the pain that almost killed you, and how you turned it into purpose. Show them the nights you cried and trained anyway. Show them the days you doubted everything and moved anyway. That's impact. That's leadership. That's fire. But you've got to feel it first. You've got to stop stuffing it down. You've got to stop pretending you're fine. You're not, and that's okay. Feel it, rage, cry, scream, break, and then rebuild, stronger, colder, because the old you needed to die, the weak version, the excuse maker, the victim, they had to go. Pain is transformation. It's the path to self-mastery, the path to greatness. You don't get to skip it. You don't get to fast forward. You've got to walk through it. You've got to bleed for it. You've got to want growth more than you want comfort. That's the only way. And when it hurts, good. That means you're growing. That means it's working. Don't flinch. Don't run. Lean in. Let it break you open so the new version can rise. The version that doesn't need permission, that doesn't need pity, that doesn't need approval, only purpose, only pressure, only pain and progress. You've already survived more than you thought you could. You've already been through hell, so stop acting like you're weak. Stop pretending you need to be saved. You don't. You need to save yourself. You need to pick up your pain, carry it like armor, and start swinging. Let the world see what happens when a broken person chooses to rise anyway. Let them see what happens when you stop making excuses and start using every ounce of pain as fuel. Let them feel the fire you've built in the dark. Let them try to stop you. They won't. Because a person who has mastered their pain is unstoppable. Your pain is not your excuse. It's your advantage. It's your edge. It's your fire. So light it, feed it, burn with it, and become everything they said you'd never be. Your pain is your superpower. Use it. It was always you. You've blamed the world, the people, the system, the past, the pain. But the truth is, it was always you. You were the one who looked in the mirror and chose to stay soft. You were the one who hit snooze. You were the one who skipped the reps, broke the promise, walked away when it got uncomfortable. You were the one who betrayed your own mission. The world didn't stop you. You stopped yourself. There's a war happening right now inside your head, and the enemy isn't outside. The enemy is you. That soft voice that says, take it easy. That weak part that says, you've done enough. That scared version of you that says, let's play it safe. You hear it every day. You feel it every time you want to push forward and something pulls you back. That something is you, the old you, the lazy you, the scared you, the addicted, distracted, comfort-obsessed version of you that has been running your life for too long. You want to win. Kill that version. This is the war. You ves you, not them, not the haters, not your ex, not society, not the algorithm. You. And if you don't wake up and declare war on the part of you that wants to stay the same, you'll die wondering what you could have been. You'll rot with regret, haunted by the version of you that was buried beneath excuses and fear. And you'll have no one to blame but the person in the mirror. You keep waiting for motivation to show up. You keep hoping for some sign, some miracle, some surge of energy to make it easy. But that's not how it works. You don't win this war by waiting. You win it by getting up when it hurts, by executing when it's boring, by doing what's right, not what's easy. You win by becoming the kind of person that does what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel. This battle is daily, hourly. Every moment you have a choice, discipline or comfort, execution or excuses, war or weakness. And every time you choose the soft option, you feed the version of you that wants to lose. The voice gets louder, the grip gets tighter, the war gets harder, because the enemy you feed is the enemy that grows. But if you flip the switch, if you decide that this ends here, now, everything changes. You silence the noise. You kill the negotiations. You take control back from the version of you that's been sabotaging your life. You start building something real, something unstoppable, something dangerous. And it doesn't happen overnight. It's slow, it's brutal, it's lonely, but it's worth it. You ves you means no more blaming, no more pointing fingers, no more waiting. You take responsibility for every part of your life, not just the winners, the habits, the chaos, all of it. You own it. And when you own it, you can change it. Because you can't fix what you refuse to face, and most people will never face themselves. They'll distract. They'll numb. They'll scroll. They'll gossip. They'll consume. Because it's easier to look at someone else's life than to fix your own. It's easier to criticize than to confront. But not you. You didn't come this far to stay the same. You didn't suffer this much just to fold. You've seen what your weak self does to your life. Now it's time to burn it down. That soft version of you. That's the reason you're stuck. That's the reason you're broke, unhappy, unhealthy, undisciplined, confused. That version of you doesn't care about growth. It cares about feeling good, and you cannot feel your way to success. You have to fight. You have to bleed. You have to suffer. You have to go to war with every part of you that wants to quit. You as you is the purest battle you'll ever face. There are no crowds, no coaches, no applause. Just you alone, in the dark, fighting your demons, fighting your doubts, fighting the urge to go back to who you were. And most people lose that battle. They tap out when it gets real. They fold when it gets quiet. But not you, because you were built for this, born for this, forged for this. You've got to become obsessed with killing the weak version of yourself. Not sometimes, every day. You've got to hunt it down, corner it, choke it out. Every time you feel yourself slipping, you snap back. Every time you hear that soft voice saying, "Let's take a break," you go harder. Every time your emotions try to control you, you choose discipline. That's the difference between you now and the you that wins. Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's going to do the reps for you. Nobody's going to drag you out of bed. Nobody's going to build your habits, write your future, or finish what you started. It's on you. You either kill the old version or you become it. You either rise or you rot. You either move forward or you collapse under your own weight. This isn't about feelings. This isn't about fairness. This is war, and the battlefield is internal. You've got to be willing to go to war with your own mind, your own fear, your own hesitation, and you've got to win, not once, daily. Because the old you never sleeps. It's always waiting, waiting for a slip, waiting for a weakness, waiting for a break in your consistency so it can crawl back in and reclaim control. That's why you've got to stay ready. Stay sharp, stay dangerous. You don't train for when things feel good. You train for when everything falls apart. You build when no one's watching. You prepare when no one cares. Because when the storm hits, and it will, the disciplined don't panic. They execute. They rise, they lead. Because they've already won the battle in their mind. You is about becoming the type of person who keeps promises when no one is looking. Who shows up when it's cold, tired, dark, empty. Who doesn't need hype, motivation, or validation. Just purpose, just pain. Just that fire in the pit of your stomach that says, "I will not lose to the old me." You've got to be ruthless. The old you has to die so the new you can rise. There's no compromise. No negotiation. You don't evolve by being kind to your excuses. You evolve by becoming the monster they fear. The machine that doesn't flinch. The savage that doesn't stop. You look your weaker self in the face and say, "You had your time. It's over." You know the version I'm talking about. The one that lied to get out of pain. That gave up when it hurt. That quit when the pressure got heavy. That blamed others for their own lack of accountability. That version, that's the reason you stayed stuck. That's the version that gets you fat, broke, unfocused, forgettable. That's the version you saw you'd kill every time you cried out for change. Now's the time. Kill it. Every excuse is a leash. Every negotiation is a delay. Every time you allow your feelings to win, the weaker you gains ground. Stop letting that version breathe. Bury it with action. Choke it with consistency. Starve it with suffering. And build the version that wins through discipline, execution, and total ownership. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be persistent. You don't need to be the smartest, fastest, most talented. You need to be the most consistent, the most obsessed, the most focused. You need to make winning the war within your full-time job your only mission. Nothing else matters until the old you is dead. You don't get to live both lives. You can't be the savage and the soft version. You can't be a warrior and a victim. You can't chase greatness and chase comfort. Pick one. Choose your pain. Choose your struggle. Choose your identity. Because your actions are casting votes for the version of you that will live, and the one with the most votes. That's the one who wins. So, what's it going to be? You vs you. The old self vs the new identity. The fear vs the fire. The comfort vs the climb. The lazy vs the lethal. That war is already happening. Right now. Every decision. Every rep. Every meal. Every thought. Every hour. You're voting. You're choosing. You're moving toward one version and away from the other. Decide, burn the bridge, kill the hesitation, silence the emotion, build the discipline. This isn't about hype. This is about identity. You are either becoming or decaying, and that fire inside you, that rage, that pressure, use it, all of it, as fuel to crush the weaker self and rise into the one you were born to become. You vs you, every morning, every night, until there's only one voice left, the one that wins. You have one shot at this, one life, one window of time before you vanish, before you're dust, before you're gone. And the harsh truth, most people will never know you were here. Most people will die nameless, unseen, forgotten. Why? Because they wasted it. They got distracted. They got comfortable. They lived passive, fearful, unfocused lives. And the world moved on without them. You want to matter. You want to leave a legacy. Then kill distraction. Kill comfort. Kill every weak part of you that wants to coast through life. You do not get remembered for fitting in. You get remembered for obsession, for mastery, for sacrifice. You either die focused or you live your whole life forgotten. This world doesn't care about your intentions. It doesn't care how good your heart is. It doesn't care how talented you are. It rewards the obsessed, the focus, the savage few who lock in on a mission and refuse to be moved. If you keep allowing the world to pull your focus, to dilute your fire, then don't be surprised when you fade into the background of time like you were never here. You weren't born for mediocrity. You weren't born to play small. You were born to build, to bleed, to break, to rise. But only if you commit, only if you burn the bridges and cut off every escape route back to comfort. Only if you go all in, full lock, full obsession, no exit plan, no plan B, only mission. You think you have time. You think you'll start next month. You think tomorrow is guaranteed. That's a lie. One breath, that's all it takes. One call, one accident, one diagnosis, and it's over. And the scariest thing isn't death. The scariest thing is dying without ever becoming who you were meant to be. Dying with potential still locked inside. Dying with your vision still unbuilt. Dying unfocused, unknown, and unfulfilled. If that doesn't scare you, you're already dead. You've got to wake up. Wake up to the fact that every day wasted is a day closer to the grave. Every distraction is a nail in your legacy's coffin. Every excuse is another chain tying you to an average life. You think anyone's going to care about what you almost did? What you were planning to do? What you hoped would happen? No, they only remember results, impact, relentless execution. This is the part no one wants to hear. If you don't develop focus, you're finished. Not now, maybe not next year, but eventually you'll wake up empty, unseen, bitter, jealous of the ones who went all in when you were hesitating. You'll watch them build empires while you try to explain your comfort, try to defend your delays, try to justify why you never went all the way. That's what's waiting for you if you keep living soft, if you keep chasing dopamine over discipline, if you keep scrolling instead of building, if you keep chasing cheap pleasure instead of pursuing deep purpose. You weren't built for likes, you were built for legacy. But that doesn't come easy. That comes from focus. Ruthless, obsessive, cutthroat focus. Focus means saying no. No to noise. No to excuses. No to average. No to people who pull you off track. No to your own laziness. Focus is war. War against comfort. War against weakness. War against distraction. And you have to win that war every day. You don't rise once and coast. You rise daily or you die slowly. Ask yourself right now, what are you building that will outlive you? What are you doing every day that proves you're serious about this life? What sacrifice have you made this week for the version of you you say you want to become? Because if you're not sacrificing, you're lying. If you're not obsessed, you're drifting. If you're not focused, you're forgettable. Look around. Look at how fast this world moves, how loud it is, how desperate everyone is for attention. Everyone wants to be seen, but no one wants to work in silence. No one wants to build when no one's clapping. No one wants to stay focused when to get. But that's where greatness lies. In the boring, in the lonely, in the painful repetition no one talks about. That's where legacies are made. You want to be remembered, then start acting like your name is your responsibility. Like your time is sacred, like your life is not a joke. Because it isn't. You think your family is proud of the version of you that keeps quitting. You think your future kids deserve the watered down version of you that can't stay focused for more than 5 minutes. You think your purpose was put in you for you to waste it. No, it was put in you to pursue with fire, to protect with pain, to build with blood. And the only way that happens is if you live like your name is on the line every single day. Focus is not optional. Focus is survival. It's the only way you beat the odds. It's the only way you outlast the pain. It's the only way you rise from the life they tried to bury you in. You've got to train your focus like a weapon. Sharpen it daily. Guard it with your life. Because once it's gone, you start living for everyone else's agenda. Their opinions, their approval, their goals. You become a slave to noise, a pawn in someone else's game. And one day you'll look back and realize you never really lived. You just existed, distracted, passive, unfocused, and forgotten. That's not your destiny. Your destiny is domination. But domination demands discipline. It demands obsession. It demands that you learn to operate in solitude. To build when no one believes. To rise when no one claps. To keep going when no one understands. That's what separates the great from the forgotten. Focus. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be locked in. You don't need to have all the answers. You need to eliminate everything that doesn't serve the mission. That's how you create power. That's how you become the kind of person who scares mediocrity, because you've burned the bridge to average, and there's no way back. You either die focused, or you live as just another name on the list of people who had potential but no discipline, who had dreams but no grind, who had goals but no guts. Don't be one of them. Don't go out soft. Go out savage. Go out sharp. Go out remembered. You've got to decide. Right now. No more casual. No more trying. No more, I'll get back on track. Either you're locked in or you're in the way. Either you're building legacy or you're wasting air. Either you're at war or you're already conquered. You've got to pick a side. And once you do, burn the other. This is your season. Not next year. Not someday. Now. Right now. While it's hard. While it hurts. While it feels impossible. That's when it matters. That's when you prove who you are. Not when it's easy. When it's war. You've got to suffer for focus. Bleed for focus. Sacrifice everything that keeps you soft for focus. There are no shortcuts, no hacks. Just hours, reps, routines, isolation. Discipline, pain. That's the price. That's the path. You either pay it now or regret it forever. And when you're tired, good. That means you're moving. When you feel like giving up, good. That means you're in the fire. That means it's working. But don't stop there. Go deeper. Push further. Turn that pain into power. Turn that exhaustion into execution. Let the suffering sharpen you. Let the discipline define you. You've got to be so focused they forget you exist. Until you show up, and they realize you are building something they could never understand. You've got to disappear into the grind, into the silence, into the suffering, until the world can't ignore what you've built. Because when you die, and you will, your name is either a whisper or a war cry, a forgettable echo or a legend they can't erase. That choice is made daily, in your habits, in your focus, in your fight. You've already wasted enough time. You've already played soft too long. You've already lived as a watered-down version of yourself. Distracted, passive, addicted to everything that numbs the voice in your head screaming for more. But now you go cold. Now you go quiet. Now you lock in and let the world fade out, because there's nothing left to say, nothing left to prove. Only one mission now: die focused or lie forgotten. In the end, it's simple. Either you die with fire in your soul and your purpose fulfilled, or you live a quiet life of distraction, drowned out by noise, forgotten by the world and yourself. No one's coming to remind you of your mission. No one's going to force you to focus. It's on you. You either lock in, build in silence, suffer with discipline, and carve your name into time, or you vanish, buried beneath your own excuses. This life is brutal, but it rewards the obsessed. So decide now: die focused or lie forgotten.